Welcome back to the show. Today we are talking about the NBA's relationship with China. It's a complicated one, but when did it start and how did it start? Is the NBA big in China? Apparently it is, because the NBA says that a third of the population watched a NBA basketball game last year. I don't think that's true, but that's what the NBA says. It also says that a fifth of the country plays basketball. There's no way that's true, but the point being, it's still pretty big in China. People do enjoy basketball. There is actually an NBA China. There is an office in China. There is a division of the NBA that is in China. In fact, the Chinese national basketball team played in the Summer League in 2018. They won a game. They lost 5 games, but they did win a game, which is pretty cool. A lot of players have played in China. A lot of your favorite NBA players, maybe Jeremy Lin or Lance Stevenson or Stephon Marbury. Stephon Marbury is probably the most known for playing in China NBA player. He played in China for 8 years. He played for the Beijing Ducks, who erected a statue out in front of their arena for Stephon Marbury. He coaches the Beijing Royal Fighters, and he is actually a Chinese resident now. He loves China. He's all about it. But Stephon Marbury is not the most famous NBA basketball player in China. It's not Yao Ming either. It's Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant went over to China in 1998. He went over to sell merchandise. He went over to do charity and run clinics for the Chinese people, and he loved it. He went back to China for the next 20 years, kind of on a regular basis, almost every year. The people of China loved Kobe. In fact, this USA Today article I found said that 15,000 people lined up at 6 a.m. for an event that Kobe was going to be at 4 p.m. They all just wanted to see Kobe. There's also an erected statue in China for Kobe. It is in Guangzhou, outside of an art museum. The people of China loved Kobe. More importantly, Kobe loved China because he invested his time and his energy, which is far more important than money, and people notice that kind of thing. So where did it all go wrong? When did tensions get high between the NBA and China? Well, I've talked about this before on the show, but Daryl Morey in 2019, October 2019, posted an image that said, "Stand with freedom, stand with Hong Kong." The Chinese government did not like this. Why? Because they were trying to pass an extradition law in Hong Kong. Basically, anyone with a criminal charge in China could be extradited from Hong Kong and taken back and tried in China. The people of Hong Kong said, no, we're our own country. We don't want you to be able to do that. So there were protests. Generally speaking, the sentiment around the world was that it was good to be on the side of Hong Kong. Daryl Morey thought so too, so he tweeted that, got him in trouble because the Chinese government said no more NBA. No one can show NBA on any streaming platform, namely Tencent, the biggest streaming platform in China, where the NBA has a very large deal with, or CCTV. CCTV is the Chinese state-run broadcast network. As you know, this cost the league $400 million. Tencent is now broadcasting NBA games, and CCTV is now broadcasting NBA games. But there is one team they are not broadcasting games for. That is not the Houston Rockets, but the 76ers. Why the 76ers? Why are they picking on the 76ers? Well, I'll tell you. Daryl Morey is now the chief basketball operations officer for the 76ers. China is still salty about that, so they will not show games in China, which is pretty impressive that they held on to this grudge for so long. The 76ers are doing everything they can to ingratiate themselves to the Chinese people and the Chinese government. As a matter of fact, the 76ers are the most active account on Weibo, which is Chinese Twitter, because they block Twitter in China, and Tobias Harris is the most active player on Weibo, which I'm sure the 76ers pimped him into, because who would be very active on Weibo? Who would do that? Who would just go ahead and choose to do that? Well, you know, Tobias Harris. So obviously the NBA gets a lot of criticism. LeBron James gets a lot of criticism for doing deals in China. But here's what Adam Silver had to say about this. Virtually every American uses products manufactured in China, and in many cases they are the products that we are most reliant on. Our computers, our phones, our clothes, our shoes, our kids' toys. So then the question becomes, why is the NBA being singled out as one company that should now be boycotting China? Very interesting. This is a pretty typical manipulation tactic saying, hey, everyone does it. Why are you picking on us? But at the same time, Adam Silver is right. He is right about that. Let's take a look at some of the NBA owners who have more business in China. Joe Tsai. Joe Tsai is the vice chairman for Alibaba and founder of Alibaba. Alibaba is the Amazon of China. Granted, he wants the NBA to be in good standing with the Chinese government because he's affiliated with the NBA and he does a lot of business in China. Robert Pera, who owns the Memphis Grizzlies is a majority stockholder in the company Ubiquiti. That's a mobile phone company. 10% of all of their revenue comes from Asia, and most of their manufacturing comes from southern China. He's got something to do with China. He wants the NBA to be in good graces with China. Tillman Fertitta, owner of the Rockets, he gets $57 million a year in revenue from his restaurant group in China. This is probably the most problematic one if you think about it. Mickey Arison owns the Miami Heat. He also owns a company called Carnival Cruises. The thing that he's doing right now is he is in a joint venture with a Chinese company that is run by the state. This company manufactures ships. He is in a joint venture to start a cruise company in China. This ship manufacturer also manufactures ships for the Chinese military. So it would look kind of problematic if China invades Taiwan and the ships rolling into Taiwan on the shore look a lot like the cruise ships from Mickey Arison's company. It would look kind of weird if Mickey Arison was doing deals with a company that was making military vessels that were invading a country that we are on the side of. It would look weird. So business is tricky. I'm not saying this to take any particular side. I think criticism is very important. So I think it is very important to criticize the NBA and call them out when they are looking the other way. But I also think self-reflection is very important too. So I would encourage anyone who's watching this to take a look at their own life and say, hey, maybe I'm doing something that is propping up a country that is violating human rights. Take a look, do your own research. I have a feeling the numbers would show that you're most likely watching this on a platform that is created by a Chinese company. All right, thank you for being here. I appreciate you watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. It was kind of interesting doing the research for it, but I'm hoping it sparks conversation. People leave comments and talk about this and tell me something I don't know. Be good to your mothers.